Okay guys, we're here with Thurman Mullet. Thurman and his brother Chester are the owners of the Mt Hope Auction. So Thurman, we go back a couple years. When was it that your dad purchased the Mt Hope Auction from Emmanuel Mullet, correct?
From Merle.
From Merle.
Yeah. Okay. Manuel would have helped start the auction, and they had it downtown. And a lot of people don't even know when it started down there or when he took over, but in 1980 they moved it up to the existing location, and that was with a bunch of shareholders. And then of course Merle took over with Emmanuel. Merle took over Emmanuel's ownership. Merle became he owned half, maybe 51%
Okay.
of the stock, and there were other shareholders. Dad came in I think it was 87.
Okay.
He came in, he left TMK, came over here to Mange,
Yeah.
and came over, ended up buying out the other stockholders, where it was just him and Merle. Then in '94, he purchased all of Merle's stock, which had been Holmes Limestone, and so then he became the primary owner of that. So
Yeah, you brought something up there. I think we talked about it earlier. When it was down across, you don't remember when it was down across the street? I don't. Dad just said that when he first started, it was down across the street, and he would start with produce, and he would sell to the pigs with it, and that was just kind of. Now you and Chester bought out your dad. When was that?
that was in 2011.
Okay.
So Dad actually owned it himself for about 17 years, and in 2011 we bought him out. He's still working there. Still tells us what to do, but it's good to have him around and bounce things off of him.
So you guys are the sole owners now, and I've noticed. I mean, we're not here like it was back when we were young, when we come all the time. But things have grown exponentially. Not only when your dad owned it, but now obviously once you and Chester have owned it. And I remember you talking to me. You had put in a computer system here. Oh, when did that start?
2007.
And that system takes every piece of livestock, every horse that goes through the ring, and tell everybody what that does.
Okay, so we were fortunate. Martin Yoder Livestock, owned a livestock auction down in West Virginia, and so he got hooked up with this system and bragged about it, and got us introduced. These were two individuals, two guys out of Iowa that created this system, and great guys. So we contacted them through Martin. They showed up one day, gave us a sales pitch. We said, let's do it, and which was not something my dad wanted to do. Not something that a lot of our customers were very excited about.
Yeah.
And but they came in. We got a deal where we installed it here at the livestock auction, and also got it at the produce auction.
Okay.
And so we got a package deal, computers. We have never done anything with computers, and we have most of our labor would not be familiar with computers. So it was a scary time. They stayed there for one day, helping us do our first sale. And then they left, and then we had our hiccups.
Sure.
I remember our first sale we had was a machinery sale. Not our first sale that we had, but a machinery sale that we had. So the hardest part was getting all the names into the database. So you had to start with. Now when you get a buyer number, most of the names are already in the database.
Right.
One click, bang, hand the buyer number out. So the first sale, you got lines, and the computer's not working quite right, and people are unsure of how to do the computer. And so you hear this, man, we've never had lines like this before. This computer this is the end of the Mt Hope Auction, and so you had to worry a little bit of some of the Amish, how they're going to accept the computers. They still go to the bank. The banks had computers, so
I know.
But it worked out for the better. The system is, I would consider it one of the best systems around with the livestock auctions.
Yeah.
We use it for the horse sales, we use it for the equipment auctions, we use it for every sale that we do. The nice thing about it is when those animals come into the ring, our system has a video that records as soon as those animals come in. As soon as those animals are sold, it quits recording. As soon as the next lot of animals come in, it starts recording again. So just by sitting at our desk, we can click at every ticket that goes through our system and see each individual video and recording of those animals in the ring. So we make mistakes. So
Yeah.
when a guy thinks he paid a certain price for something, and we have it clerked at a different price, we can very easily check that.
Yeah.
So, and we do make mistakes.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that happens to us all. Now you mentioned two things there that I thought about. You guys also started, and I think down west of here, you started the produce auction, and I believe there was a conglomerate of different guys who were involved there. But when did that start?
Okay, that's the first sale was in '95, 1995. So Dad had just bought up here,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a group of spearheaded by Raymond Yoder
Yeah.
and probably Fred Finney. They were after the some of the churches were not able to milk cows,
Mhm.
or milk enough cows to make a living, so some of them had turned into growing produce. So they were looking for an outlet of produce. So what they did is they basically, over in Lancaster, over in Leola, Pennsylvania, big produce auctions over there. So made a trip over there, studied what the produce auction consists of, and then started it the first year.
Mhm.
They still laugh about the first year. I think the first year they had, I think their entire, it was in the first week of sweet corn, all of their sweet corn for the year came in like in 1 or 2 sales. Now we sell it 3 months, 4 months spread out, but those were all growing pains there. They went through growing pains
Mhm.
throughout, but the produce auction's grown. It's had its bumps and years where the prices were tough, but yeah, we actually don't even own the ground out there. We
Mhm.
don't own the produce auction buildings. We lease that. There's four local owners that own that, and but we pay the rent and try to make it work.
And we're thankful for that, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay. In talking about that, you mentioned that you had all the sweet corn came in like at one time. Did you guys have to educate the growers on,
yeah.
on teaching them how to spread that stuff out
Yeah.
so it wasn't all in
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, I was in school when that started, and I hear the stories of it. I didn't get here till '99, but
Uh-huh.
they really had. I mean, first you had to make sure that you had enough produce to have an auction.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had to make sure you had enough variety to have the auction. And back then, there wasn't an emphasis on spreading out your season.
Mhm.
You grow it and you think, okay, sweet corn comes at a certain time, that's when it's going to be. Well, these growers have learned to plant early, plant a little later another crop, and then plant late another crop. So you have like 3 plantings coming through of maybe zucchini, cucumbers. That way you might hit the early market, you might hit the glut, you might hit the end of the season market. So
Mhm.
like today, we had 4,000, or we had one grower bringing 4,500 pounds of tomatoes today.
Today?
And yeah, and there's a market for
Sure,
it.
sure.
Then you learned about the fall crops where you have the cauliflower and broccoli later
Uh-huh.
on. You got the pumpkin season in September and October, strawberries in January, and then we also have flowers, the hanging basket flowers. We sell those in May. And so the growers have learned throughout the year, or throughout the seasons, that
Mm-hmm.
there are certain times of the year that when everybody has a certain product, that's not necessarily a good thing.
As far as that auction, is that starts at a certain time each year and ends in a certain, or does it go the entire year?
Yeah, we start at the end of April with the flowers.
Okay.
And we run straight through the flowers, the hanging basket flowers, up to Mother's Day.
Mhm.
The prices are good. In May is generally the time you want to sell your flowers. When you get into June, most of the people have bought their flowers, planted their flowers. They're not looking for flowers during that time. So most of the flower growers will get their flowers started, and some of them have other greenhouses that start them for them. Then they put them in the baskets,
Mhm.
and then they bring them in throughout May. So that starts. Then our produce season, right at the end of May, depending on the growing season,
Sure.
depending on, if it's wet, sunny. This year was a perfect growing season for the
Mhm.
most part. But yeah, it runs all the way into November.
Yeah.
We go to the 3rd weekend in November. Next week
Okay.
will be our last.
So right before Thanksgiving.
Right before Thanksgiving, we're done. The 3 Thursdays in November, and then we're done. We'll run 4 days a week throughout
Mhm.
the majority of the June, July, August, September. October we go to 2 days, and then
Mhm.
November 1 day.
earlier on here, you had said something about it, and I think that's something I noticed too that has grown like crazy for you guys is specialty auctions, meaning not the Wednesday livestock auction, or for that matter, even the monthly horse auction that you guys do on Saturdays. Give the audience a little bit of an idea. What are some of the specialty auctions that you guys do throughout the year?
Okay. Well, first we do equipment auctions. So we have 3 machinery sales throughout the year, April, June, and August. They are anything from farm equipment to windows, doors, lumber supplies, buggies, and some people would call it a junk sale too. We do sell tractors and vehicles too. We sell pretty well anything.
That's a zoo, by the way.
It is. And it's a sale that has grown over the years, but we enjoy that sale. The sale's a fun sale to do. Besides machinery sale, we do the horse sales. So we have a draft horse sale, and our draft horse sales are in March, June, and October. For the most part, we'll sell ponies that week. These are all catalogs. So we have the ponies, we have the crossbreds, Friesians, Dutch harness, your riding horses. We have another day for Halflingers. We have another day for all Belgians. Another day for Percherons, and then mixed horses. And then at the end, on the last day of the week, it's Saturday, we sell standardbreds. And in between there, we have a tack and carriage sale also. So that's all one week. It's a 6-day sale. My wife looks forward to it every year. Then we have the other specialty horse sales. We have the Dutch harness and Friesian sale. Those are your purebreds and some of your Dutch and Friesian crosses. We hold that in our building that we built here a couple of years ago. They'll lead them through. That's in May. Then we have a sale called the Memorial Trotting Sale, and that is a special glorified standardbred sale. That's a catalog sale. That is a sale that we have partnered with Dublin Valley Robert Hirschberger to do. And that sale has really grown. We're thankful for him as a partner, and he's very aggressive with that sale. That's been a big hit, and I would not have been a believer that sale was going to work the way that it has worked, but he's done a very good job with that. There's a lot of guys that put a lot of work into that.
Is that the sale of, I mean, if you were looking to buy a racehorse, a trotting, you know, and forgive me, I don't know racehorses, but is that where you come if you want to buy that, or a high dollar buggy horse?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so to get into the sale, you either have to be one of them top 30 sellers or get your name drawn. So not everybody can put a horse into that sale.
Oh, wow.
Okay? So the crowd there, and you know, I don't know what people say, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 people. It's a lot of people. So I don't know what numbers they have. I reckon that, I mean, it would be, you know, probably over 10,000 people there, which is hard to believe that people would come out on a Friday night, Memorial Day weekend, and watch a horse sale. But the sellers do a great job. They spend their time, they buy their horse, they have their horse 3, 4, 5 months ahead of time, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, 3 years, and they bring that horse to the sale and they sell it. With a big crowd the way it is, it tends to bring a little more than a normal sale. Now it's an outdoor sale, they drive them back and forth. They also have the great thing about that sale is they do a big benefit for local needs. They've raised $200,000 to $250,000 in one evening just for those people. And they, you know, so not only are they having a sale, and they are also helping out quite a few local families that need it. And so, yeah, he's made that a community event, and a lot of the Middlefield people will come down and join it. This year we had buyers from everywhere. You said something about racehorses, and there might be racehorse prospects, roadster prospects. Those are your horses that will go into shows.
Okay.
There has been some horses that have actually won in the big shows, and that happens, I don't know where, down in Nashville or Tennessee and Kentucky and those places. They have their shows. Then you have buggy horses. Good buggy horses. So last year we sold a horse for $140,000, and which is the highest horse that we've ever sold here.
Wow.
Probably the highest that we've ever sold, but
Yeah.
we'll ever sell. But
Yeah.
a horse named Ozzy. So it was a stallion, and was quite a highlight.
I hope you enjoyed our interview with Thurman, a little bit of the history of the Mt. Hope auction, why it's significant to us here at Kaufman Realty, why it's obviously significant to Dad, having started a lot of his career there. Hopefully you get a little bit more of an insight on what they're doing as they are growing, as they're expanding into doing shows, taking on some new and different auctions there as well. Again, be sure to check back in the future. We're going to have some more interviews with staff personnel, as well as getting out into the community and seeing more people like Thurman. Thanks a lot. If you get any other questions, feel free to shoot us an email, drop us a phone call, whatever you like.